Hey folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. So it's been a while. I hope y'all didn't think I gave up, but no, still here, still gonna plan on making videos. But what's happened is it's been really windy this April. So today's April 30th and it's a beautiful day. We had a chance of severe weather last night, but most of it went to the north, and it was up in Kansas. They had some tornadoes, but man, it's just been super windy, and I mean days on end. It just didn't let up. There were 2 nice days, and I got down here and I had so much to do, I just couldn't shoot a video. I just had to get in there and do as much as I could with the time I had, because the next day was going to be more wind. And the weather forecasters have done really well on predicting when we would have a decent day. So today was supposed to be good, and it is. It's a little bit windy out of the west occasionally, but I'm back here in these trees and it's not bad. So let me give you a little update on the things I've done since my last video. So I went through and checked for swarm cells on my double deep hives and ones that had just one honey super. The double super ones, I knew those were my strongest hives, and I knew they probably would have cells, but I wanted to check the others that were fairly strong. And I did find a few. Most of them were empty queen cups that they had started, and a few had larvae in them. And that was 10 days ago. So those should be capped off now. And with that real wind and stormy, cloudy type weather, they didn't get out much yesterday, I don't think. Today's going to be a prime swarm day. So I need to get in here before they decide to start swarming this afternoon and try and find those queens and get them moved out. So that's what I'm planning on doing today. One other thing I did on one of the nice days, I've reduced some of my hives that they weren't that strong. So they had 2 deeps, a couple of them had a honey super, and they just kind of had a big vertical narrow thing going. They weren't really built out, so they weren't that strong. So what I've done, and I think I've done it on like 5 hives, I reduced the double deeps to a single deep, and I put a honey super on them. So a lot of folks, some folks, not a lot, some folks I do know are running single deeps in Oklahoma and being successful. So I've always went with the double deep system, rotated in the spring and doing that. So I'm going to try and do a mix and match. So that way I will probably get some honey production out of those weaker hives, but I do need to check them in the fall and be really intentional about seeing how much honey they've got, how much they weigh. You know, they'll be a smaller colony, but they'll consume a lot less food, and that they'll have a smaller space to keep warm. So I don't know, we're just going to try it out. Comment down below, let me know what you think about that. I'm going to give that a try on a few hives. So today I'm going to get in, and I got in my notes which ones had the queen cups with the larvae, so I'll go there first, and I'm going to make some splits. I've got, I think, 6 vacant positions I need to fill. One's over there in the woods. I'm not going to fill that. I'm trying to shut down that wood spot. It's tight. It's on a steep hill, and if I trip, I'll just go rolling down it. But I want to shut that area down. I always get ticks on me when I'm over there. So that's where I put my very first hive. I thought this will be a great spot. Wrong. So that was, what was that? I think this is my 9th year beekeeping. So learned a little bit along the way. Learned a lot of things not to do and a lot of right things to do. And I've taken you along with me on that journey for, I think this is my 6th year doing YouTube. So, well, with that said, I really don't have much more to say. So depending on what I find, I want to make some splits today. That's my goal. I want to find some original queens, artificial swarm them into a small hive, and let them create a new queen with the swarm cells that they have in there. That's my plan. So one thing I have learned, when you have a plan, a lot of times that don't work out. So we're just going to see where they're at time-wise. I think we're to that point. I look at my history on things I posted in the past. I had swarms like a lot earlier on, but this year's running about 3 to 4 weeks behind, I think, from last year with the nectar bloom, the blooms, the progression of the bees. The red buds came in later. It's just an odd year, but we haven't had the late freezes. Cross your fingers. So I might get some fruit this year on my fruit trees, which that would be awesome. The bees were all up in those fruit trees on those blossoms. So yeah, man, it's going to be great if I can keep the bugs off of them now. So let's get in here and see if we can find us some swarm cells and find us some queens. And we may mark a queen or two. While we're at it, we'll mark them white, because if they're not marked, they're last year's queen, or it's a queen that I let not be marked for multiple years. But I try to stay on top of that, so next year if I see a white queen, I'll know she's 2 years old then. So let's get in there and see what we can find, and let's make us some splits. Okay, this is the hive we're going to go into. You see it's pretty active. So this is hive 15. It's here on the end. It has one honey super. Okay, according to my notes, get on the right page. According to my notes, hive 15, April 20th, it had a medium population, and it had queen cells, and frames 3 and 4 had them, and they broke off when I opened it up, which that happens. You're going to lose a few of your queen cells. And let's see, it had another cell on frame 6 and another cell on frame 7 that were okay. They were uncapped 10 days ago. So April 20th, today's the 30th, so 10 days ago. So I need to go in here and I want to see those queen cells should be capped off. And if they are, I can find my queen and I can move her out and let this hive make a new queen from those queen cells. So let's see what we find here. So a queen, I think it's faster than a worker day. I think it's 19 days from egg to emerge. So we're getting close to being too late here, I'm afraid, but we'll see what we got going on. Okay, first thing we're going to do is get this honey super off, and I'm just going to leave the lid and everything on it. I don't want to mess with that super. And we'll get a feel for how heavy it is if they brought in any honey, which I wouldn't expect there to be a lot in there, because this hive, I wrote down that it was medium strong, so it's got a little bit of weight to it, not a whole lot. Looks like I wound up getting the excluder with it. Okay, we're going to give them just a little bit of smoke. When you're hunting for a queen, you don't want to smoke the crap out of your bees, because the queen takes off and no telling where she'll be. Now a hive that's like this, that if it's about to swarm, that queen will have worked her way down in the bottom, and she'll be down in the bottom close to the front entrance. So we're wanting frames 6 and 7, I think I said. 10, 9, 8, 7. These two frames right here is where our queen cells were. I like using my J hook tool to get this first frame out. We'll go ahead and look at these other frames while we're in here. So this is frame 2. It's empty. I'm just going to scoot it over. 3. We'll take a peek in case our queen is on here. Should be mostly nectar. That's all shiny nectar right there. And so is this. That's just full of nectar. So they're doing some good foraging. We're in the high part of the nectar flow right now. It's a favorite time of the year to be a bee, I guess. Okay, this one was frame 4, so I think this one had a queen cell. That's all nectar. No eggs or nothing on there, no signs of queen. Here's a pollen frame. You can see where we lost our queen cell from before. That's probably remnants of it. So since we've got all pollen right here, the opposite side, this next frame is going to be where our brood is at. Pollen's always next to your brood. When you're doing splits and moving frames around, always keep pollen next to your brood, because that's where the bees put it. That's where you should put it too. So we might find our queen here. A lot of emerged brood. It's been backfilled. So on this frame, this was mostly capped in here last time, and she's gone back and backfilled it, and it's still emerging out here on the edges. So this is the youngest brood, and right here, oh, we got queen cells on this frame right here. So we broke one, and two are remaining. So see right there, that's an open queen cell that's uncapped. And there's a queen larva in there. And here we have one that we broke off when we pulled the frame up, and then this one here is good. So if I wanted to make a split, I could do it with this, or I could leave this and they could create a queen in this existing hive. So we got us some options. Now we got to find our queen. I need to look at my notes and see if she was marked. She's definitely not on this frame. Okay, so when you've got a frame with queen cells, don't be jacking it around, sliding it. Just lift it straight up and down. So the fourth one over, remember that. I'm gonna look at my notes. Okay, this is the hive from last year that had a green queen in it. And I haven't spotted a queen this year. So I don't know if it's still that green queen. So a green queen is like, I think 4 years old last year. And she was a champ laying, and I just couldn't believe it. I think she's mismarked. I don't know. But anyway, let's find our queen. Man, I don't know. I was thinking maybe I did see her this year, but I didn't write it down. So they definitely have not swarmed, because there's a good population in here. This is strong, especially for being in the middle of the day. So here's a brooded up frame. Lots of capped brood on here. I wouldn't expect to see her on here, but it's, you know, it's possible. She may be down in the bottom. So right now she's going to be on a diet, trimming down for her swarm flight. Here's a queen cell right here. I seen the bees gathering up around here like they're taking care of something. Those are drone cells, but there's a queen cell right there at the top, which you don't see those that often. It looks like they're taking care of it, but it looks like it's dried out. It's kind of brownish. It's not a bright white milky color. It's more of a brownish, like it's dried. All right, let's look at the other side. I would not depend on that queen cell to make a split with. It doesn't look healthy. It don't look right. I'm not seeing her here. There's no formed queen cells on the bottom here. So I'm going to go get my next box and get it ready here. So we need to be prepared when we do find that queen. So I grabbed a bottom board from just right next door, four hives down. So see how these bees are nice and calm there on the top. When it's blowing 25-30 miles an hour out, you just can't do this. It'll be blowing bees everywhere. So let's get this ready back here. So this is a 10 frame box. It's got all drawn out frames in it. So I'll just pull out 3 or 4. So when I find my queen, I'm just going to put her frame and all right here. And this bottom board will protect her, you know, if she falls off the frame, she's within the box. And so this frame had a queen cell in it last. I didn't see it this time though, down low. Or maybe I was mixed up and it's these two. I remember I wrote my note after I shut the box up. So there's no queen cell. Yeah, oh wait a minute. Here's one uncapped in the very corner. Right there. So we are a little early. I was afraid I was going to be way too late. These would all be capped. Find some of them open already. And some of them may have already swarmed on me. So perfect timing. We got this frame right here has capped at least one. There's another one right there. So there's 2 uncapped queen cups on this one. So they formed these after I did the inspection, or they filled them and started making a queen. I don't see her on this side. Lots of capped brood here. I don't see her. So I'm looking for an unmarked queen. Because the queen that had green on her, it was not much left. So this one we know is viable as well. So those 2. And we're on to pollen. So our queen wasn't up there, I'm guessing. She's not going to be past here. Unless you smoke them a lot, you ran her out there, which I did not do. I used very little smoke. You're not going to find a queen on a frame that's covered with nectar. Unless you scared her there. Alright. Let's check these next 2 frames just in case. Something riled them up. Sometimes queens will get scared just from opening the lid and they'll run down in the corner. No queen. Not many bees on that next frame. Alright, what we're going to do is lift this off. Set it aside. Look in the bottom for our queen. Make space here. So you want to lift this straight up. You don't want to slide it around because you got those queen cells hanging down. You don't want to damage them. Oh, that is heavy. Okay, we're going to quickly run through here and see if we can spot our queen. A little bit of nectar there. This side's completely empty. So this hive is much stronger than 10 days ago. A lot of that brood has emerged, so I would classify this as a strong hive now rather than medium. Now keep in mind, a lot of the bees aren't even here. They're out foraging right now. There's some honey and nectar. Nectar, a little bit of pollen. Lots of pollen here. So we may have some brood frame down below as well. Keep in mind, these 2 boxes were rotated in March. This box was the top. Oops, I smashed one. Sorry. Oh, I got stung for it. There's a few drones hanging out there. A little bit of brood down here. I just spotted our queen and she's marked green, believe it or not. She's right there. A little bit of green paint left on her. She is a laying machine. I picked on this hive all last year because she was green and stole brood frames from her because I figured she would supersede any day, and she never did. She has got some good genetics. She's laying. She was laying an egg when I found her. Had her butt down in the cell. Okay. Let's get her isolated. There's also some drone comb on there. But we'll get her over here. Get her her own set of bees. So we'll pull from down here. We don't have to worry about losing our queen now or smashing queen cells. So here's a good brood frame with lots of nurse bees. We'll add that to them. Let's see, where was that pollen? I think that was that on this frame. I want to get that pollen in there with them. Now, so there's some nectar, so we'll give them that. So the pollen was on that frame with her. So we'll put that here. I'm gonna get a couple of these frames out of here just to get them out of my way and get some space to work with. Because we may want to just shake some bees in here. Let's see what this frame here is. Got a few brood, some nectar and pollen. Same thing. Oops. Want to keep them oriented the same. May grab them one more. Yeah, lots of good pollen on this, and they're working that good. So we'll just take those bees with it. Put the pollen towards the brood. I think I'm going to shake some bees now. I'm going to shake these in there. These aren't on a brood frame, so they're not nurse bees, but I think since that queen is in here, they will stay. If not, they'll just come right back over here. And we'll shake these in there. Ah, sorry, you couldn't see what I was doing there. Looks like some of those did come back. So we need to fill that box back out. So I'm going to scoot these in that the bees are on. Like one frame. You can do this anyway. I just like to move the existing bees in towards the center a little bit. I think I'll move that over 2 spaces. Because all these bees are coming and going right here. So I want nice drawn comb going back in here. You don't want to put empties down towards the bottom, at least I don't, because they won't draw them out, because the bees work their way up through the year. So if you put an undrawn frame, you want it in the top. And put it between a couple of brood frames. So one more will make 10. Always try and center your frames up, get them off the sides if you can, and get them all touching so they don't put propolis between all your frames and stick them together real tight. This is probably the last time we'll be in this bottom box till possibly next year. Okay, 3, 6, 9. So we want to put these frames back where they were. I'm going to lift them and set them down. I'm not going to slide them very far at all because I don't want to damage a queen cell. Because this hive here is queenless now. The only way they can make a new queen is from one of those swarm cells emerging and getting mated, and if that doesn't work, there's a few eggs left in here from that queen that she has laid recently that they could pull an emergency queen cell off of. So these I think were okay to slide. I can use smoke now. So I got a blank waxed one. Normally I'd put that, I'm gonna go ahead and put it there. Actually I'm gonna slide these two. I'll pick this one up and move it. If you take a blank frame that's undrawn and put it between, like put it out here between two nectar frames, what I've noticed is, and if these other frames are already drawn, they'll just draw those other ones thicker and not touch this one. Even though it's waxed, they will do that. So you want to put a blank frame between your brood frames where you have drawn brood comb, and then they will draw this out more reliably. I think it's because of I don't have a super strong nectar flow here most years. If I did, that might not be a problem. I'm not going to press my luck. I'm going to put this right here. I don't want to move one more frame. Now let's get our excluder on and our super. Before I do that, I got to get this new hive with the green queen over in her new spot. We need one more frame. There it is. We're going to put it over there. That'll be 14, number 12 position. Needed an inner cover. These two didn't have them for some reason. And we'll reduce the entrance down on this because this is a weak hive now. It doesn't have all the strength to defend itself. There we go. So this hive, the new one, right there, it has that old queen in there. So she won't swarm now because we've demoralized her, taken all of her population away. She has no swarm cells. So she will probably live out her life in there, and when she starts failing, they will supersede her with one of her eggs and make a queen like that. Or the hive will just fail. That happens sometimes too. But now we need to get this one all back together, and this hive will create a new queen. So from a honey production perspective, this hive won't make much honey now because we've taken quite a bit of population and they're going to have a brood break. Let's see how many bees are up in here working. So it looked like they were working on a couple of frames right over here. It's going to take them a while to get reoriented from being popped off of there for a while. Man, how about that? I love it when a plan comes together. Doesn't happen like that every time. Just so you know, this is the first one I went to, and I took good notes and said, check this sucker in a week. And I did. I came back, it was the next week. 10 days later, had capped queen cells that are viable. So we were careful with our queen cells. We didn't mess with them. There's at least 2 capped, and I think there are 3 uncapped. So we may have a little cast swarm come out of here when there's too many virgin queens running around in here. And that's okay. We'll just capture those if we can and make a new hive. I've done that plenty of times. So this hive is set. Hopefully they make them a good queen. She gets mated. We've got good weather for mating. It's not full of rain and thunderstorms and 50-mile-an-hour winds for 2 weeks. So we'll see how that goes. I've heard a lot of people that graft and mate their queens earlier on. They were having about a 50% success rate with all that high wind. The queens they didn't make it back for whatever reason. But this hive is good. So set it, forget it. We might get a little bit of honey. You know, if we don't, that's okay. It's just part of the process. We got lots of hives that are super strong, that are double deeps, but I will be doing this process with them as well. I could have pulled an additional split out of here, but that split would have been not that strong and it would have weakened this hive even more. So we're just going to go with this. So we created 2 from 1, and we got lots of other hives to look at. So we're going to get started on that next. And I won't video all that. I'm just going to get after it and get busy. So I hope you learned something. I hope it was good for you and informational. So give me a thumbs up if you would. And don't forget to subscribe on your way out. And hopefully we can hit 10,000 this year. We're coming up on it slowly. So we'll catch you on the next beekeeping video. Y'all take care.